The Redstone River had no mercy that spring. Swollen with snowmelt and thunder wash, it cut the Pine Valley in two like a scar, fast, wide, and roaring. Birds hushed when it passed. Even the cottonwoods leaned away. That morning, Ethan Cole was riding slow, hat brim low, tracing a path that didn't rightly matter. He had no place to be, and too many places he couldn't return to. His horse, Dusty, dipped his head for a drink, and that's when the scream came. Not a word, not a name, just a sound too sharp for wind, too raw for silence. Ethan looked up and saw a figure in the middle of the river, arms flailing like torn cloth, then vanishing under the current. Long black hair fanned in the foam, swallowed whole in a blink. He didn't think. He was off his horse before his boots hit the ground. The cold slapped him breathless. The river fought like it had something to prove. His fingers brushed skin. And then there she was, limp, weightless, lips blued and eyes shut as if dreaming something she didn't want to wake from. He dragged her to shore, coughing water himself, the taste of iron and silt sharp in his teeth. She lay unmoving for a breath too long, then choked, coughed, spat out the river, and curled away from him, alive. He watched, chest heaving, not daring to speak. She didn't thank him. He carried her to his camp, just a saddle blanket and a modest fire, and gave her space. She was young, maybe mid-20s. Apache, no doubt. Proud bones in her face, eyes that once open held more storm than the river behind them. She said nothing, just pulled his blanket tighter and stared at the flames like they owed her something. By dawn, riders came, silent, bareback, painted faces and cold stares. A circle formed around Ethan, unmoving. One man dismounted, a tall elder with white threaded through his braid and the kind of eyes that saw too far into a man. This was the chief, no mistake. His name, Ethan would learn later, was Red Hawk. "You pulled my daughter from death," the chief said in English shaped by smoke and time. "So we are in your debt." Ethan wiped river dirt from his sleeve. "Didn't do it for debt." Red Hawk's gaze held steady. "You will take her hand." The words stunned the air silent. Ethan shook his head slow, the way you do when the world's gone sideways. "Sir, I didn't save her for reward, let alone a binding." He learned her name then. Willow stood barefoot on cold dirt, chin lifted. "I'm not for trading," she said, quiet but sharp. "Not a pouch of tobacco. Not a thank you." She turned from them both, her wet dress clinging like bark to her spine, and walked away without a backward glance. Ethan didn't move. Neither did the chief. But the fire crackled louder than before. Ethan didn't ride away. Not that day. Not the one after. Maybe he should have. But the memory of her, half drowned, then half defiant, stayed like a thorn you couldn't quite dig out. He helped a boy lift fence posts, replaced broken planks in a goat pen. The people didn't chase him off, but neither did they welcome him. He ate cold biscuits alone, refilled his canteen at the river, always watching for her shadow. She appeared on the 5th day, standing with her arms crossed as he checked his saddle cinch. "Why are you still here?" He kept tightening leather. "River's cleaner here." She didn't smile. "Then go marry it." That night, he found a folded square of cornbread on his saddle. He didn't eat it right away. He noticed the stares, the whispers. Patchy boys laughing behind their hands. A woman spat near his boots. Another said something sharp in a tongue he didn't speak, but shame doesn't need translation. He bore it, not from pride, but because leaving would feel like cowardice. And Ethan had done enough running in his life. He slept outside the main camp near the horses, under stars too bright for a man with old regrets. The next time he saw Willow, it wasn't by chance. Her dog, a lanky mutt with burrs in its tail, had a deep gash along its hind leg. Ethan was crouched beside it before she arrived, hands gentle, shirt torn to bind the wound. She froze. "What are you doing helping? It's not your dog." "I know." He tied the knot snug and stepped back. That night, she brought him a strip of smoked venison and sat across the fire. "I used to have a brother," she said after a long while. "He drowned in that river when we were small." Ethan listened, gaze soft. "My father tries to protect me too much now. Offers my hand like it's a shield." Her voice was low, nearly lost in the fire crackle. "But I don't want protection. I want someone who sees me." He didn't speak, just nodded like a man saving words for later. Days blurred. Weeks, maybe. He taught the children to tie better rope knots. She began to ask about his past. "My mother was Irish," he said once. "There was a patrol. My father never came back after the fighting. We didn't blame him." "You don't talk like other white men," she said. He met her eyes. "I don't live like them either." The storm came without warning, a sky that cracked itself open and poured the world clean. Ethan was miles from camp when the heavens fell. He ducked beneath a rock ledge and started a small fire. She found him there, soaked to the skin, hair slicked like night ink. "You followed me?" he asked. "You don't belong here," she said, breath heavy. "But somehow you fit." He chuckled once, soft. "That's supposed to be a compliment." She studied him. "You listen like a tree, quiet, strong, older than you are." Rain fell in sheets. Between them, the fire hissed and threw shadows across her cheekbones. "I'm not ready to be someone's prize," she said. "I'm not trying to win you." The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was sacred. In time, trouble stirred. A neighboring band saw Ethan as a threat, white blood sleeping on Apache land. Red Hawk, wise but weary, offered a trial. If Ethan walked the ember path barefoot, he would be seen not as an intruder, but as one willing to bleed for belonging. He didn't flinch. He nodded once. The fire path burned red with heat. Smoke curled like ghosts around watching faces. Ethan stepped forward. The first burn stole his breath. The second buckled his knees, but he kept walking. Not for pride. Not for show. Just because someone had to mean it. Midway through, pain roaring up his spine, he felt her beside him, barefoot, silent. Willow took his hand. Together they walked the last stretch, fire kissing their souls, sweat painting their brows. No one spoke. After, no one spat. That night, a fire larger than any before was lit. Children danced. Drums echoed. Red Hawk stood before the people. "My daughter has chosen, not because I commanded, but because she saw." He turned to Ethan. "You have no name among us. But you have earned one." Willow stepped forward, her voice calm and sure. "You are Koa, one who endures. Not by blood, but by choice." Then quieter, "I will take your name if you still offer it." Ethan answered without words. He took her hand. She didn't pull away. In the months that followed, he built a home near the river that once tried to take her. They planted herbs by the window. She sang while grinding corn. He carved her name into the doorframe. They didn't speak of love much. But one evening, as dusk painted the sky violet, she laid her head against his chest and whispered, "I no longer fear the water." He kissed her hair. "You saved me first." She said nothing, just held him tighter. "And if you're still listening, friend, let me tell you this. Love ain't loud. It isn't earned by shouting or bought with good deeds. It's what stays when the world says leave. It's what grows in silence. What hurts with you." He didn't win her heart in a blaze of glory, but in quiet hours, in walking through fire, not to impress, but to understand. So if this story touched something tender in you, leave a word for Willow. Or for the kind of man who doesn't take what isn't freely given. Because out here, where rivers remember names, the truest thing a person can do is stay.